This is the Schmo with the pro, with the former boxing world champion, the current broadcaster, the always outspoken Paulie Malignaggi here at a Pana a Dolce, a cafe, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. How we doing?
Doing good, doing good. Had some coffee. You had a couple extra coffees, I think, Schmo, because you're always on the up. I think you had coffees before you got here. That's the point.
You know the Schmo likes his Americanos extra strong.
Cappuccino for me, Schmo. Morning cappuccinos for me.
Yes, now talk to me for a second. We're a day away from the big-time fight of the summer, June 6th. It's Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather. It's not quite the rumble in the jungle like your beautiful t-shirt here, but hey, man, it's the celebrity world we live in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would call it the blockbuster fight of the summer, but it's I guess we'll call it a summer kickoff, right? Because we got Fury Wilder later in the summer, and we got probably a couple other good fights later in the summer. I wouldn't call this a good fight. I would call it a fun event. Well, if we're gonna really speak in proper terms, this is more of an event. It gets people's curiosity. Logan Paul, he's bigger. Probably has no shot to win, but most of the people watching the fight don't know that, so they don't think that, And I think that's the thing. That's why I call it a fun event, because a boxing event, I think you have more boxing heads who are in tune with the fight. This is just a regular fun event, because the people that are watching the fight probably are not so in tune with the fight or the fight game, and they're coming with a little bit of a hope that Logan Paul might win. I don't think he's got a prayer, but, at the end of the day, it's an exhibition, so just him lasting the distance would be like a moral victory.
And you got his brother, Jake Paul, fighting Tyron Woodley. These guys, Paul brothers, they're making headways in the fight game. What do you make of these guys in this whole boxing scene?
I think at least Jake is fighting real fights, all right? I think they go on his official record. It makes me think of something Dana White said. Dana White said that the fact that the YouTubers are becoming the most popular boxers says something a lot about boxing. But you know what? It says something about combat sports in general, because the fact that YouTubers are making their money beating up MMA fighters also says something about MMA. So at the end of the day, it's a boxing. It's like a new wave of boxing. It's a new wing of boxing, but it refuses to include boxers. You know what I'm saying? So you got these YouTubers making headway, making headlines, fighting boxing matches, but they refuse to fight boxers, because obviously if they fight boxers, it's not going to end well for them. So you're kind of creating a niche, but it's really a big niche, because we live in the dumbest generation humanity has ever created. Because you have to be the dumbest generation to make this kind of thing popular. Listen, it was cool at first. I think the Paul brothers really do put in the work. But now you're starting to get these other YouTubers, other TikTokers. Everybody realizes, you know what? If I got a following, I could go do a boxing match and people are going to watch it. And the reality is, the fact that more people are watching these kind of guys fight than people who've been boxing their whole life and have the credentials says more about how stupid the generation is than about boxing than anything else, You're
diving right into it, though. Next week, you're in Atlantic City. You're calling the fight for what? Lamar Odom, Aaron Carter? You're participating in this. And then there's like a TikToker that's fighting another YouTuber. This stuff is keep coming and coming and coming.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? At least the celebrities, they know what they're about. Listen, they're fighting a celebrity fighting a celebrity. They're not trying to really pitch themselves as fighters. I don't think Lamar Odom and Aaron Carter are ever going to go pursue a boxing career, This is a beef. They want to settle it. That's fine. It's like the backyard boxing, you don't like your neighbor, you guys have a problem on the block, let's put the gloves on and take it to the driveway, I don't have a problem with Lamar Odom and Carter doing that, as long as they don't try to sell themselves as boxers for too far past this, I don't even have a problem so much with the Paul brothers, because they've actually put in the work and they got years of work in this. I've got a problem with everybody else just showing up, Corey B, I'm talking about you, that these guys just start boxing yesterday, and today they're calling out fighters, or they're selling themselves as fighters on the sly, because again, if I'm in the same room with these guys, or if a boxer's in the same room as these guys, they're going to be quiet as a mouse.
Let's talk about some real boxing. You brought it up just a few moments ago. It's Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. It's the showdown. It's the trilogy. It's going to be in Las Vegas. It's going to be, next month? What's going to happen in this fight, man?
From a technical standpoint, I've been quoted. I had a couple of interviews, and I said I think that Wilder has the right approach. You've got to kind of have this in denial approach about it if you're going to take this fight. You can't think about it anything negatively. You've got to convince yourself that it was everybody else's fault and maybe that Fury cheated. You've got to convince yourself of all this stuff that really most people are not going to really take you seriously for. But you've got to do it because you've got to put yourself in the best position mentally to feel like you're going to win the fight. And I said that I don't have a problem with that. And I think I started reading some comments, and I got some comments on my posts saying that I'm trying to get back in with the Wilder culture. I'm not trying to get back in with anything. I'm just breaking down fights. So I think if you're gonna be crazy enough to take this fight again, I think he has the right mental approach. He's got to approach it this way. Otherwise, if you go into a fight with any kind of doubt at all, you're going to only be doing harm to yourself. Now, that didn't mean that I now think that Wilder's gonna win the fight. Now you're going to force me to give my opinion. I think Wilder's going to get absolutely eviscerated in the fight. I think he's going to get smoked to where he's actually never going to be the same again because he took a bad beating the first time around, the second time around. The first time, I thought Fury outpointed him. The second time around, he took a bad beating that usually guys will change a lot of guys in general. So to ask for that kind of beating again, I don't see where he's going. Here's the thing. Wilder doesn't know how to fight going backwards. You're not going to figure out a way to fight going backwards. You're not going to mentally, psychologically change yourself to that point where you're going to, and physically change yourself to that point where you're going to figure out a way to fight this guy going backwards. Fury will back you up. And when Fury's backing you up, he's going to bully you. Fury is from a culture that is just, they really support that masculine force, that they have a fighting culture. Gypsies have a bare knuckle culture within their culture. They raise these kind of men. Fighting is part of their culture. Fighting is part of who they are, part of their DNA. So none of this BS that Wilder keeps preaching about, pushing the race issue and pushing the cheating issue and pushing the Mark Villan was a traitor issue. None of that is gonna matter to Tyson Fury. He's going to execute a game plan against you, and I don't think Wilder can handle that kind of opponent. I don't think Wilder knows how to fight backing up. There's no shot, and if he proves me wrong, more power to him. But what is going to happen when you're starting to get backed up by Fury again, and he's putting a beating on you, and you can't blame white privilege. Fury's not bigger than you because of his white privilege. Fury's bigger than you because he's genetically a bigger guy, and he knows how to fight that way. So, for me, I just want to, make sure I don't get misunderstood. I think Wilder is true to himself by having this in denial mentality. I think he is in denial. I think he's absolutely in denial because, like I said, I think he's gonna get the living shit beat out of him. But for him to go into the fight, he can't go into the fight thinking what I'm saying. He can't do that. Otherwise, the fight is pointless. The fact that Wilder is going into the fight thinking this way, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem. I mean, I have a problem with him bringing up the race issue every second. That I have a problem with. But everything else, I don't have a problem with. Plus, like I said, at the end of the day, it's on his hands. He's got to handle it or not handle it.
What about you? You're the Magic Man. Can we expect to see you get back in the ring? I know you did the bare knuckle a few years ago, but Paulie, man, we're in this era where everybody's getting fights. You're getting called out. You just mentioned this Corey B guy. What's next for you, Paulie? Are you going to fight again maybe in 2022?
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of take my life as it comes. I'm in a good place. It's a lot of tough times for a lot of people. So I feel fortunate that I'm in a good place. But as far as fighting, I don't know. I don't say definitely yes, and I don't say definitely no. Yes, I have got a little beef with a YouTube star, TikTok star, Corey B. But I honestly, if I'm really serious, I don't think this guy's gonna actually go full force and actually fight me. I think these YouTube internet gangsters, these internet sensations, we'll call them, with the followings, I think they know where to pull the brakes. I think Corey B has been talking a lot, and he knows how to sell himself well, and obviously he's got a big following. But let's face it, let's both be real, and let's be real with Corey B. If I'm in the same room with you, you and I both know you're gonna be quiet as a mouse, and you're not gonna talk the same way you were talking on the radio with a big head. You're not gonna be talking with your chest out when we're face to face, when we're in person, when we're in the same room. So I wouldn't definitively say that I'm in that fighting world. We'll see what comes my way. I'm in a good place right now if I don't fight, and if I fight, it's got to be something that interests me, and it's got to be about something that somebody that makes it I really want to beat up, or at least something that I want to win. I was in discussions with BKFC about fighting with Luis Palomino for the title. We didn't work it out. That was always something that always interested me, would be winning another title, getting a chance to win another respected title like a world title in bare knuckle.
Insert Tyler Goodjohn in that conversation. The Schmo spoke to that man too.
Yeah, Goodjohn is actually a good bare knuckle fighter. And Palomino has improved a lot since obviously winning the title and continuing to practice his craft. I think it's a good fight. I really think it's a good fight. Goodjohn came with a big reputation from England in bare knuckle, and I work in England a lot, so I had heard of Goodjohn before. I think the culture, the bare knuckle culture here in the U.S. kind of underrates him because he didn't have the most stellar performance in his first BKFC fight. But I think that's a good fight, man. I think Palomino and Goodjohn are really going to have a good fight. Psychologically, I think they're both in it. I think Goodjohn has been really focused. I think I haven't seen him much on social media. Palomino has been talking a big game. I think they're both going to come with their own version of their own confidence. And on fight night, I think they're going to put on a good fight.
Final message for all the Paulie Malignaggi fans out there worldwide.
I'm still around. Just because you don't always see me doesn't mean I'm not still around. I'm chilling out. Beautiful sunshine in Florida. I'll probably be back in New York soon, though, at least for a little bit of time. Right now I'm just picking up little gigs, but you'll be hearing about me soon. I'm working on a couple of things. I don't necessarily want to stay in combat sports, but fortunately and unfortunately, this is what I know how to do. I know how to fight, and I know how to commentate combat sports. So for now, I think you'll be seeing me again soon. But in the meantime, check me out on social media for the updates. Oh, and one more thing. Are you hodling with me? Are you guys hodling AMC with me? Who's hodling AMC with me? I want to know. Let the Schmo know if everyone should hodl or not.
He's got his stock game going strong. He's the pro. I'm the Schmo. Can we get some dessert? We're out.